Punjab government, which cited that TLP's involvement in the sectarian violence, hate speech and damage to public property during protests. The ban has been proposed under Section 11(8) B of the Anti-Terrorism Act based on the reports detailing the groups of extremist activities and violent conduct. Now, joining me on the telecast is Maresha Barve, my colleague and correspondent. Maresha, thank you so much for joining us. While, of course, this comes big amid the constant call for actions from Pakistan on anti-terrorism. What do you say? Well, banning Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan will really help control the hate speech, violent activities and protests in Pakistan, considering their history?
Well, Rema, to answer this question, it's important to note that Tehreek-e-Labbaik has had a history of hate speech and violence, and just by banning it, one cannot really guarantee or ensure that that there would be no violence in the future, or there's no guarantee to steadfast peace. We have seen Tehreek-e-Labbaik use street violence, religious bigotry, riot and demolition of infrastructure and street violence as their modus operandi. Now, considering all of this and their past history, one can really not ensure steadfast peace in Pakistan. Now, when one actually thinks about the situation, it can only point down to the instability that Pakistan as a nation has seen over the last few years. Now, the prominence was the max in the latest prominence that you have seen of the Tehreek-e-Labbaik was very recently in 2025 related to pro-Gaza protests after the ceasefire was actually announced. Now, there are very less chances that the ban that has been imposed would actually lead to peace, because it is said that TLP, that is the Tehreek-e-Labbaik, has been previously banned back in 2021 by the then government, of course. However, the ban was lifted after 6 months when the condition was put forward that the group would refrain in any sort of violence or public disorder. Now, the current ban that has been imposed on TLP is because they have violated this peace in the first place. Even after assuring and reassuring the government that they would be controlled and that they would take care of public order. Now, senior officials from, like you mentioned, from the Punjab government also participated in this meet that was chaired by the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif via a video link. It was a virtual meet that also took place. The briefing obviously did highlight the organization's disruptive actions in disrupting public order, in inciting violence, in harming civilians and their lives. The cabinet was further informed that the past protests, rallies and demonstrations by the Tehreek-e-Labbaik would result in death of security personnel and also harm the lives of civilians. Now, after reviewing the details and considering all odds against this group, the Punjab government's recommendations, the federal cabinet unanimously concluded that TLP is actively involved in something as serious as terrorism and violent activities. Now, considering all of this and its previous history with inciting violence and creating disruption in public order, this ban that has been put across, we don't know, or we cannot guarantee peace in Pakistan regardless of this ban, because time and time again we have seen Tehreek-e-Labbaik actually violate peace even after assuring that they would stick to steadfast peace. So, Rema, with that, we hope for peace. We actually do hope that this ban would further ease the situation of violence in Pakistan and actually in the future see a more resolution in this country.
Thank you for joining, Maresha. Now, more breaking news coming in from Brazil. Brazilian President Lula da Silva has confirmed that he will run for a fourth term in office in the country's 2026 elections. He made that statement at a joint press conference with his Indonesian counterpart Prabowo Subianto in Jakarta. Lula served as president for 2 terms between 2003 and 2010. However, the man who rose from poverty to become an icon of the Latin American left had a dramatic fall from grace when he was imprisoned for corruption in 2018. The controversial case was overturned and Lula made a spectacular comeback in a bitter 2022 election that deeply divided Brazil with the narrow victory of incumbent Jair Bolsonaro. That election sparked a political crisis that still resonates today. Bolsonaro was sentenced to 27 years in prison for a botched coup attempt in the wake of his election loss. Now, Lula's election bid post-Bolsonaro's conviction is significant. Let's in fact listen in to what Brazilian president had to say about his re-election.
Eu quero lhe dizer que eu vou completar 80 anos, mas pode ter certeza que eu estou com a mesma energia de quando eu tinha 30 anos de idade. E vou disputar um 4º mandato no Brasil. Vou disputar um 4º mandato no Brasil. Então,
now we shift our focus to Nigeria. The military says that it has killed at least 50 jihadists during a series of intense battles in the country's troubled northeast and repelled multiple coordinated attacks on military locations across Borno and your states by unknown militants. In the early hours of Thursday, troops aided by fighter jets engaged insurgents who had launched coordinated attacks on bases in the towns of Dekwa, Mafa and Gajibo in the Borno state, as well as in Katario in neighboring Yobe state military spokesperson said in a statement. While the military did not name the faction involved in the initial attack, intelligence sources believe Islamic State West Africa province fighters were behind this assault. The region has been the epicenter of Nigeria's almost 16-year-long conflict with Boko Haram and ISWAP.